let's make a more precise levels correction. So one thing I want to show you before I do that is I've got a background copy here already, and if I turn the eyeball off, you can see before on the background the leash is there, and then I removed it. So the same skills we used in the retouch I used to remove that leash. So think about that while you're working. What do you want in your photograph? Really quickly also, I'm just going to grab the patch tool. Right here there's a speck of dust on my sensor. I'm just going to get rid of it before I go on to the next thing, which is to create a levels adjustment. So I come up here to the adjustments panel, I click on levels. Now my white, gray, and black eyedroppers are still set. They hold those settings. But what I want to do is I want to be more precise in finding the white point rather than just clicking around. So I'm going to hold my options key and click on my white slider. And when I do that, the image turns black. And if I move the slider, I'm looking for the first point where I see white, and it's in the dog's leg. So I'm going to pull the slider back, let go of the option key. I'm going to make the image larger. I'm going to use the hand tool to move it. It's going to be somewhere in here. But how do I know where it is? I need to use my info panel. If you don't have your info panel available to you, just go up to the window and go down to info, and it will pop up. Okay, so if it's not available, window, info. But it is available, so let's come back over here. And what I'm doing now is I'm looking, I gotta grab the white eyedropper in the levels panel. What I'm looking for is the brightest point in here. Do you remember that white is 255, 255, 255? And I'm here at like 202, 187, 155. So what I just did was I set a point. I held my shift key and clicked, and that told me those numbers here, 202, 187, 155. And I can continue to look around to see if there's something brighter than that. This one's really not brighter, but I just want to show you. If I want to get rid of a point, I just click with my shift key again, click on that and drag it off the canvas. These points, targets, they're invisible. If you were to leave them on the image and you printed, you wouldn't see them. So you can leave them there so I would know where you set your source point. But let's just make this a little smaller now. Look at my little puppy here, Zilla. And I'm going to click right on that source point. That's the brightest point. And watch what happens to the image. Boom. So it pulled the yellow, orangey color out of the photograph. So if we double click on the hand, then I click on and off of that eyeball for the correction. It's looking a lot better. My histogram pretty much goes all the way from one side to the other. If I could pull this into the more of the first point of info, but let's see what this point looks like then. I want to make sure that I'm not up in that 255 range, which I am. So I'm just going to leave it where it was. The reason for that, we want to lay some tone down on our paper when we make a print. The mid-tone slider, if I go to the right, it gets darker. If I go to the left, it gets brighter. One is neutral. It's right in the center. A lot of times, if your prints are too dark, you guys, just lighten up your mid-tone slider. This one, believe it or not, I'm just going to leave it set to 1.0. It's looking really good. So one simple correction, the white eyedropper, I pinpointed where I wanted the white. If you can't easily identify a non-highlight white, I would try this. And this is also going to work later in the semester when we get into using Adobe Camera Raw. You might want to practice a bit now.